So today I want to announce Whouno. It's a new piece of software that's been led by me, and I'm Nathan Ahern, and I have had a fascination with what makes people who they are for as long as I can live, since I was a 6-year-old. And I developed Whouno because I have been collecting information up here about people my whole life, in an effort to create and maintain great relationships, to have people experience being known. And my memory fails me. And I have tried every piece of software that you could imagine, from spreadsheets to CRMs, all sorts of different CRMs, to bits and pieces of custom-made software using different technologies all over the years. And I've never really been able to find the right solution. And then about 2 years ago, I started to look at, maybe it's time for me to develop something completely custom, just for me, no one else. And what about if it just recorded everything that I knew about someone, and I could teach an AI everything that I knew about someone, and I could develop a specific type of AI that helped to make this possible. And so I went to work, and I started to look at what defines a person, what makes the things that matter to them. And it might help, to explain it in the perspective of listening. Now, you might notice that oftentimes you're speaking and you feel like you're not being heard. The other person is waiting to speak. It's waiting for you to finish speaking such that they can speak. And then there's the sort of person who's speaking, but it's not really making a difference to you. You can't really understand what it is that they're actually saying to you, and not from the perspective of working it out. Or someone might be speaking to you and you're not actually listening to what they're saying. You're listening to the opinion that you have about what's being said. And then there's someone who speaks in such a way that it touch, moves, and inspires you. Right? They're speaking into what the words mean to you, not what means to them, such that they experience that they're heard, and you're able to hear them. And vice versa, they're making sure that you experience being heard. Who you know is the last one. I really wanted people to be able to access the information that mattered to the people, to the contacts in your life, to the people in your life, to the organisations in your life. Because I know that matters. You're going to dinner and you think to yourself, geez, I've forgotten Steve's wife's name. Or I wonder if, Mary's been, overseas lately. What interests Mary? And this works in a ridiculous number of scenarios. If someone experiences that you care, they experience that you care, and that creates connection. And fundamentally, that's what sales is. It's not about manipulating someone into buying what you're selling. It's about solving a need, but hearing that need exists. Whouno is developed to hear the needs of the people around you. In this world where, we don't really own our contacts anymore. We've got contacts in our phones, we've got contacts in CRMs, we've got contacts on spreadsheets, we've got contacts on Facebook, we've got contacts on Instagram, we've got contacts on LinkedIn, we've got contacts on YouTube. We've got contacts and information about them all over the internet, and all of those companies own that data. Contacts at Microsoft, contacts at Google. You could say we own the data in those last little bits, but intrinsically they sit in their systems. They're not in our system, they're not together. And that doesn't even talk about HR systems for our employees. Our emails, our calendars, our photos on our devices. We don't have access to any of that. There's no cohesive collection of information about our contacts. And in a world where AI is quickly taking off, and everyone's excited about this opportunity to use AI to market to people more, I think we're going to find that, in essence, we're marketing more to other AIs. And really, it's people that want things. It's not AIs. So who you know has turned up at the right time. In essence, what Who You Know is a mobile app that replaces your contacts app. Its intention is to replace your contacts app. And so it has all of your contacts, so what I would call your active contacts, so the contacts from your phone, contacts from Google, Outlook, those sorts of things, and pulls them into Who You Know. And then what Who You Know does is connects to your photos on your devices, connects to all of your email accounts. And what it does is and goes out onto the internet, connects to your Facebook accounts and your LinkedIn accounts and all those sorts of things, goes out there and collates lots and lots and lots of different information about each one of your contacts. Who You Know is not limited just to the contacts you have, but if you think about it, the contacts that matter to you, the contacts that you're keeping in contact with daily are generally on your phone and in your work and personal email accounts. And where you've been is recorded in your photos, what you've been up to, who you've hung out with, the moments that matter to you and to the people around you. And so Who You Know brings all that information together, and then the Who You Know AI learns from all of that. Now that's just the first step to Who You Know. That's where we're at today. Where Who You Know, I want Who You Know to go further with is as someone who's networking, and right now I'm in Dijon in France, on my way to some networking events in the south of France. And I do that to raise capital and to connect people and provide consulting and meet people who are up to extraordinary things. I think anyone who's in sales knows how challenging it is to get in front of potential customers and how expensive it is. It doesn't take much Facebook advertising to spend several $1,000s. And if you want to get in front of high net worth individuals or ultra high net worth individuals, or business owners or entrepreneurs, you can't really be marketing on Facebook. You've got to get out there and network in person. So I'm in Dijon on my way to the south of France. I was in Paris the other day, and one of the things that I think is really valuable is that we all know someone who's up to stuff, and people ask me for connections and contacts all the time. And one of the things that I wanted to be able to do is to give people the opportunity to leverage who they know, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I wanted people to be able to make money from who they knew, their connections. If you think about it, let's just say, for instance, you've got a very good friend of yours that you've been friends with for 25 years, and someone wants an introduction. They want to meet this person. Now, currently, you've either got to, if you want to meet that person, you've got to hope that you run into them, or spend quite a lot of money, like I do, traveling around, networking, collaborating, connecting with people, or you meet someone who knows them. Now, meeting someone who knows them would be a bit weird if you're running around asking people, hey, do you know this person? Hey, do you know this person? Or you could contact them directly on the internet and hope. But imagine if you're in Who You Know, and all of your contacts are in Who You Know, and now together you're able to collaborate together and say, hey, look, out to the whole Who You Know ecosystem who's opted into this, the Who You Know, Refidex or whatever you want to call it. I haven't even developed this part yet, but this is the part we're currently developing. All these names and structures. Is you can say, listen, I want to meet Barry Jones, and Who You Know knows who knows Barry Jones. Who You Know knows who's got some great relationships with Barry Jones. And when you say, I want to meet Barry Jones, and I've got $200 US to the person who can introduce me to Barry Jones, or I've got a 1% cut of the deal that I organised with Barry Jones, Who You Know gets to facilitate that. So you put your $200 up, someone accepts that, you get to choose that that's okay. You might get multiple people. You might get Barry Jones's brother, Barry Jones's long lost friend, a guy that's just met Barry Jones, all saying yes, and you get to select the person. they obviously fulfill on that, introduction, and you've now met Barry. The system says, great, you've met Barry, we're going to pay the $200 out, and you're making money from your contacts. You're making money from who you know. And I think most people in this world would just, an extra $50, $100 a week would make a big difference. And I think that sort of collaboration, should be possible, but currently isn't in any system, because, none of these systems are built for this. They're all built as a social media platform. Who you know is not built as a social media platform. It's built as a collaboration tool. It's built to make you and your network fantastic with the people that they know, and allow you to, I think, comfortably and reliably connect with the people that this collaboration. And then from a corporate perspective, you look at corporations, and having worked in innovation and technology in corporations for a long time, one of the things that's really obvious is that they don't have a lot of visibility across who the business knows, like their stakeholders that they're interacting with day in and day out. When an employee leaves after 10 or 15 years, those emails are just gone. There's insights in those emails about the stakeholders within an organisation that are just lost forever. And I think sometimes businesses, they're trying to get in front of Barry, to use Barry as an example again, and Matthias, who actually works for the organisation, knows Barry, but salesman doesn't know that. So there's no way within the business to collaborate to create success. And from an enterprise perspective, that's super important. And I don't think that enterprises are going to particularly participate in the marketplace style situation. They may do, but the larger ones, I think it's going to be more about sales, and I want to enable that with who you know. It's going to be more about knowing each employee and everyone they know within your organisation, so that you can interact with your stakeholders better. And for those professionals, those people who are professional networkers, professional marketers, professional entrepreneurs, professional business people, that ability to collaborate and get connection. And then for people who are just, want to be great with human beings and don't need that day to day, they might work in an enterprise. They just want to be able to, they might want to make $50 or $100 a week off the people they know. And also just have great relationships, use who you know to assist. And there's going to be 3 tiers of products for each one of those organisations. You have enterprise, professional, and then free, a free version. So it's exciting to be able to announce who you know after many years of work, and trial and error and trial and error and trial and error. It's not available to the general public. If you were like, I really want in on this now, you can jump on the waiting list and sign up for the waiting list. And when it becomes available, or when we release to the next cohort of people on the waiting list, you could get that. It is currently an iPhone app. It's being used on the iPhone, and it's a web app. So there are 2 bits of software. The web app's probably more tailored towards that professional and enterprise side of things, and the mobile app just enables all the features to work across all 3 tiers. And I'm just really excited to get out and share with you, what I've been storing about human beings and how I've been working to be great with the people that I work with day in and day out for my entire professional career. People say to me, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm just a nerd who likes people. But this nerd's brain forgets things. So that's what created Who You Know. So just remember, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not corny at all, is it? I look forward to seeing you use the app. Thanks.